This meeting of the Richlands Town Council will now come to order. Would everyone please stand for the invocation and the pledge? Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, to gather together with the council and the citizens and all of our staff to do the business of the town in the best way that we know, to serve all of the people that are in this town and all the people that we affect by the decisions that we make here in Richlands. We pray for your guidance and your grace and forgiveness for anything we do that we don't mean to do. And we pray for the thankfulness that even though it's really cold, we know that spring is coming. And we're grateful for all these things. Heavenly Father, give us the spirit to act in your honor and in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Members of council, we have before us an agenda. If you'll please look over the agenda and see if there are any deletions, additions, or corrections to the agenda. I will entertain any thoughts regarding the agenda.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would like to add street paving
Okay.
to the agenda.
Where would you like it, Jan?
Probably under agenda items. You can
Okay.
put it wherever.
Maybe we could put it after H, we'll put HI. Would that be okay?
That
The
would
very
be
bottom.
fine.
I, and street paving?
Yes.
Okay.
I also have two things, please.
Okay, Laura?
For letter J, an events committee appointment.
Okay.
And the other thing is I would like council to consider, I guess I'm asking your thoughts about moving the Scholastic Bowl up before public comment.
I
just
think,
so-
yes, and I think we should. So, members of council, under item Roman numeral 8A, Scholastic Bowl, if you would please move that up, we'll call it Roman numeral 4A, okay? IV 4A. Okay, thank you. Are there any other deletions or additions to the agenda?
Maybe in addition, I've had a lot of complaints with things in the river, like trees and stuff, that we could talk about maybe having them removed.
Would you like it on the agenda, Dad?
Yeah.
Would you like that after J?
Yes.
We'll add K, right?
Okay.
And how would you like to title that?
Just debris.
River debris?
Right.
Okay. Debris and river. Okay. Rick, you can add it.
Let's add this.
All right, JK, we'll call it I, and letter I is going to be consideration of Cornelia Cox driveway.
I believe that would be letter L.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rick,
My
I was
bad.
going to bring that up under attorney comments, but if you want to.
Do you want to bring it up under attorney comment?
I mean, I'll defer to.
This is a different.
Oh, that's a different. Okay.
Do you want to bring yours up or do you want me to add it? I don't care to add
I'll just put it under attorney comments.
Okay, so are you okay with that?
it. Yes, I'm fine.
I'm just going to go over here and say we'll know to do it. We didn't add one. It's going to be under attorney comments, Cornelia Cox driveway.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This one has to go to April.
Oh, okay, I'm my bad. All right, L is going to be, hold on. Cornelia, let me get it right.
Cornelia Cox's driveway discussion.
Okay. So, Mike, were you going to talk about that as well?
I was going to talk about what I had been directed to do previously, but if this is a
Okay.
different thing, then.
Okay.
No, that's still under your competence. What you talked about previous. This is a total different. This is
Oh, no, I'm
private.
talking about Cornelia Cox.
But we didn't vote on it, right?
Not,
I was received direction to draft one previously.
okay.
I think you brought it up last month as well.
Mike, would you prefer, and
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean,
would you
either way.
prefer to
we
have it
talked
as
about
a letter under the agenda? And how about you, Rick?
I would rather have it under the agenda. Let's talk
That's fine.
about it.
Okay, so we'll keep that, let me get these backwards, correct. JK, L, that'll be letter L under Roman numeral 8, consideration of Cornelia Cox's driveway. Is that correct? Rick? You good?
And
Yes.
Mayor, I have one correction under executive closed session. That is, the code section is 2.2-3711. A1, it's not 37.11.
Okay, so if you'll please remove the decimal from 37, just put 3711, okay? Thank you. Are there any other additions or deletions or corrections to the agenda?
Let's do one more. Let's do the Magic Mart property right away.
Would you like that to be M,
Yes,
the easement?
the easement, yes.
Okay, I've got that. Rick, does everyone have this? Let me review this to make sure we've got it right. Before I do it, is there anyone else who has any thoughts on the agenda, Doug?
One other thing, do you want to bring that up, or,
You go ahead, it needs to be added.
okay. Bring up the power cost adjustment.
All right, so they'll be in, okay, PCA.
Yeah, and along with that, I don't know how to approach it, but we always, on the bills, say how much the electric is paying out. There, it would be a good thing if maybe somewhere down below it or something, how much it's bringing in,
Okay.
the amount. You know, I think that would be a good comparison.
Can we do this PCA and electric questions?
Yes.
Okay, if we can answer them, and I must interject, hold on, and electric questions. Is that all right, Doug?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mayor.
You're fine. I should have said it at the very beginning. Heather cannot be here tonight. Heather Perry, for those of you who do not know, is our interim director, our town manager, and she is sick. And her doctor has told her she must be off work until Thursday. Is that right, Susan? And so she sends her regrets. And I'm very sorry I didn't recognize her, nor did I pray for her. But in the spirit of our Heavenly Father, we offer up vocal prayer. Thank you. Okay. Any other additions, deletions, corrections to the agenda?
I'll defer to Gary on this, but do we want to discuss the renovations that we went and looked at the rec park? Will we be ready to discuss the renovations at the rec park?
Yeah,
Yeah. Can we add that to, I guess, O?
yeah, he's on, I can bring it up.
Let me turn the page. So we've got O, rec park renovations. Okay. So I've added O for rec park renovations. Everybody have that? Okay. Are there any other additions, deletions, corrections to the agenda? Okay. Let me review this to make sure I have it right and that everybody else is, we're all on the same page. We have, if you look down the agenda in order, 1 is a call the meeting to order, 2 is invocation, pledge of allegiance, 4 additions, deletions. So here they are. We have moved the Scholastic Bowl recognition to Roman numeral 4A. All right, and then going down to agenda items, we have Roman numeral 8, and they are in order. We're going to scratch Scholastic Bowl. All right, B is safer, which is staffing for adequate fire and emergency response. C is personalized drawing of Tazewell and Richlands High School. D is the grand opening of Whiskey Fields Boutique. E is a resolution for interconnection. F is utility date ordinance. G is an executive closed session pursuant to Virginia Code. H is return to open session. I is street paving. J is events committee appointments. K is debris in the river. L is considering Cornelia Cox's driveway. M is the Magic Mart easement. N is PCA and electric questions. And then we have O, rec park renovations. Is that correct, everyone? I have one thought. Let me ask you, council, would it be prudent or efficient to move the executive session to the very bottom so we can get, if anybody wants to stay for that, they can? Your thoughts?
I would agree with that.
So I will ask that we take item G, which is executive closed session, and move that. We're going to just eliminate the G, and we're going to put it right after rec park renovation, P, I believe, closed session. Is that okay, everyone?
Yes, sir. We would want to move H as well.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we'll move H. That's right. Let's do that. Okay, I think it will be more favorable to people who would like to stay with us as much as they can through this other discussion. Is council in agreement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, are there any other additions or deletions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Laura makes the motion to accept the agenda as amended. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Rick makes a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? There being no discussion, I would ask for a roll call vote, please, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion is unanimous. It carries. Thank you. So first on our agenda is recognition of the Scholastic Bowl. And these are the things that bring great joy to all of our hearts. So I'm speaking to you in a heartfelt manner in my position and also personally to these students and to Cotel. This team, I will read you the list of accomplishments. I just want to say this team of outstanding young students from Richlands High School has achieved so much, and they actually went to the state competition and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hale, I believe they came in second, right? Which is no small feat, and they're to be honored tonight. So that being said, I would like to read, I had Mr. Hale send this to me so I would not miss anything. I would like to note that some of these students could not be here tonight because as many busy people are, they have many things to do, and they're called in many directions, which absolutely refutes the notion that young people don't get tired. So I want to recognize them. I will read the names, and as I read them, you don't have to stand for very long, but if you'll just please stand up and be recognized, and then at the end of my recognition, our recognition, I would appreciate it if all of you would come forward for a picture with the council and also introduce yourselves to the members of the council. Please. Thank you. So let me say first, this is the roster for the 2022-2023 Scholastic Bowl team. I've had the honor of teaching some of these students, but not all. And I'll be honest with you, if I'd had the honor, it would be even more complete for me personally. But I can tell you they're outstanding, not only for academics, but they're pretty well-rounded people. Some of them participate in band, some in various sports, some are currently involved in the play that's going to be presented by the Richlands High School Drama Club, The Beauty and the Beast, which is this coming Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m. at the community college. So while I try to explain what all these students are doing, they've maintained such an excellent record, and they are to be commended, highly commended. I could single out people, but that certainly would be inappropriate and unfair. because all of you make a team. So as I call your name, would you please stand up and be recognized? Joey Simmons is the captain. Joey, just remain standing. Okay, thank you. I could expound on these, and we could take a whole meeting with what I think is so important. Joey's an outstanding student. I had him in the 10th grade, and he's an outstanding student at Richlands High School in so many ways. Owen Bells. Owen is also an outstanding student. Unfortunately, he knows how I feel. He took AP History, and I wish I'd had him in regular history, but I will have to give you a ton of credit. He would come to me for various interesting tidbits, and I tried to impart what little I know. Thank you, Owen. He is also the brother of our town council member, Jordan Bells. And we have, unfortunately, Gavin Littrell cannot be here tonight. I had the pleasure to teach Gavin. Gavin is an outstanding young man. He's a junior at Richlands High School. Jaden Daniels is on the team, but she could not be here tonight. She has other obligations. Tristan Jones, another outstanding student who could not be here tonight. Zoe Ellswick. Zoe, I think I see you back there. I had the pleasure and honor of teaching Zoe. They just don't come any better and sharper, and I want to commend you, Zoe, on your hard work. Thank you. Brayley Griffith. Brayley, are you here? Brayley, how nice to see you. I'm so glad. I didn't have Brayley either, but you know, it's wonderful for you to be here, to be a part of a team. It really becomes family. We talk about that a lot, but you really become family, and I know you know that. Sometimes we can't pick our blood family, but we can pick the family we choose to be with. All right, Emily Van Dyke. Emily, I'm so proud of you, and we all are. Thank you for your accomplishments and your hard work. Rihanna Addison. Rihanna, thank you, Rihanna, for being a part of this team and contributing to the success of it. Everybody has an important role. Everybody fits, everybody. Thank you. Abby Arney. Abby, thank you, Abby. You're a bright light in this picture you have on white, which gives you a brighter glow. Thank you so much for participating for Richlands High School in this important endeavor of wits and brains and sportsmanship. I've watched it. Thank you. And then we have Brady Woody, who cannot be here tonight. And last but not least, we have our coach, Chris Hale. Chris, would you please stand? Chris he teaches the classics, in particular Latin. He's fluent in several languages, but Latin is his primary course, and he also has coached this team to victory, and I call it victory. It's unqualified. It doesn't need any particular yardsticks at all. We can't put them to these kids because there just aren't yardsticks to put to them. There are no limits. And I am so proud of all of you. Chris, thank you. Sometimes, last year before I retired, I would pass his room. And this year when I've subbed, I would pass his room. And they are there late in the evenings working, trying to learn how to work the buzzers, how to answer questions fast, all the things that I don't even know about that are so important in being a competitor. And I will say I attended what few events I was able to at Richlands High School. You will not find a more competitive, spirited team with such excellent sportsmanship. It attests to your character, not only your gray matter, but to your character. And I thank you on behalf of this council. Thank you.
Give him a round of applause.
Well, absolutely. So I would ask, before I carry on, and we can take up the whole meeting with this because it's so important, I would ask that all of you come forward, and if somebody will please take a picture of this group, and then we'll ask you to come back here, or we can come down there, whatever the photographer thinks, and we want to be pictured with you. You will make us look good. Thank you. Come on up. And I would ask first that you introduce yourselves to the members of council. Just form a line and come on through. Thank you. Though you can start over here, introduce yourself, and then we'll get pictures. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. This way. Come on this way. So you're fine. You're good. There are no mistakes can be made in this place.
Hello.
So thank you from the bottom of my heart. So proud of you. Owen, thank you. Thank you. Joey, you just know tons, but it's character. tons of it. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative. Thank you. Really, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're so honored to have you here tonight. Chris, you deserve accolades for staying with this team and being so dedicated. Thank you. I think, let's get a picture without us, then we'll get a picture with us. We'll step out of the way if you don't mind. So they can see the town seal and all these kinds of things, okay? And Chief Holt, you can tell them to move whatever way you want. They look good. Okay. All right. Members, come on up. You feel free to stand here and get a straight-on shot. It's totally fine. This is a lifetime memory for you. Yes, I would like one with council. What would you suggest? Should we come down there, or would you like them up here?
Probably stand up behind them.
Okay, if you'll file around and mix and mingle with us, is that what you like, Ron? That's what we- Come on back here, sometimes that works. Guys, if you'll just file around and mix and mingle with us in some random manner, that will work, okay? Okay. Come on over, I need
Rob, can
somebody.
you hold this chair just a minute?
Of course.
Give us some room.
Yes, please, please,
Don't.
please. Come on over here, Joey. You want to stand beside your brother, of course. Come on, ladies. We need a nice mix. Thank you. Where's your buddy tonight? We need some folks over here, I do believe. I taught Zoe, so would you stand here with me?
Y'all probably need to come on in here in the front.
Come on, girls. Now, Ron, you got us, okay? Can you see everybody?
There we go. Stay right there, because I have everybody's face.
Before you go, thank you. Before you go, I have a whole list of accomplishments. Just stand here. I want to read it because this is nothing to be taken lightly. You just stand and be comfortable. There's nothing stuffy about this. We just do all kinds of things here. Listen, early bird tournament at Tusculum University, first place. EMIT at Eastern Montgomery High School, third place. Top team from the state of Virginia. State line showdown at Virginia High School, fourth place. Tornado Invitational Tournament at Richlands High School, first place. VHSL, that's the Virginia High School League that's highly regulated. Southwest District regular season 12-0, no losses. VHSL Southwest District Tournament, first place. VHSL Region 2D Tournament, first place. VHSL State Tournament, runner-up. 2-1, highest place in Richlands High School history. All-state tournament team, Joey Simmons, top 5 scorers amongst 100-plus players from the 1A, 6A schools. And to drag this out just a little bit more, I will ask the captain, if you don't mind, you can use my mic if you wish. You don't have, whatever, you got a big voice, Joey, I know you. Would you just share briefly what it was like in you were in Williamsburg, right?
Yes, sir.
Share it, please.
So we went up there I guess we left Thursday or Friday morning. We left from school. We got there that night. We had dinner, fine establishment. And then that next day, we went there. We had our first game versus Pocosin. We didn't start out too strong. We were down going into like halftime, kind of. And but then we made a big comeback in the second half. And then our next game, we just kind of held a lead the whole time. Just a steady lead. And then the last game, sadly, we did not win that one, but it's okay. I mean, we gave our best shot and we went out swinging, and that's all I could ask. And I'm very proud of my team for what they've done this year, the accomplishments we've had going into this year. I did not have the same expectations I did at the end. I mean, we surpassed every single thing I thought we could do. So I'm very proud of us.
Joey, thank you. Well spoken on behalf of your team members. Thank all of you. Thank you. You may be seated if you want. And you can stay for the whole meeting, or you might prefer to do your homework. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
What a pleasure. Thank you. What a pleasure. Thank you.
Good job.
Good
We
job.
didn't get you a golden gavel.
I
Like a pure gold one?
Thank you. It's fine, totally. Thank all of you. Chris, thank you. Thank you so much.
This should have been set 5 foot on that wall would be here.
Okay. Okay, let's put this here. For all the things that we need to do, it's so wonderful to have these very positive things in our community, and I know all of us are so proud of these young people. Thank you, Council, for such a warm welcome. Okay, next, I did forget this. Is there, and I'm sorry, is there anyone, this is Roman numeral schedule, is Roman numeral 7, is there anyone under unscheduled comments who would like to speak tonight? Yes, ma'am. And your name, please? Jackie Barrett, okay. Okay. Okay, Jackie, I've got you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak under unscheduled public comments? Okay. Does everyone have Jackie's name down? Thank you. All right, next, we have a consent agenda, the authorization to pay the bills. Does everyone have the check register in front of you? Have you had a chance to review it? Okay. Are there any questions about the check register? Anyone who has questions about the check register? Okay, no questions here? Anyone? Okay. Is there a well, let's go to the next one. The minutes. Are there any questions about the minutes? They are quite lengthy because Susan did a superb job of typing them, and I will share with the audience. They're 70 pages. Thank you. Any questions about the minutes of our regular meeting for February the 14th, 2023?
I don't have a question, but I'd certainly like to thank Susan for her patience in recording all of these minutes, because that takes a long time. We thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you, Jan. Any other questions about the minutes? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented? Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Doug makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Gary has the second. Okay, any discussion on this motion? Okay, there being no
I
discussion.
got a question.
Okay,
You doing
yes.
are you doing the minutes and the check register all at one time?
See, it's under consent agenda right here. And so if you have any questions, we can go back, Rick.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Are you voting on both of them at once, or are we
Right.
splitting them?
It's on the consent agenda. I was asking for them at once.
I
See-
prefer to separate them.
Okay, we can do that. Okay. Well, let's do this. First, let's take the authorization to pay the bills. Is there a
Mayor.
motion to?
Mayor, Mayor,
Yes,
there was already a motion in the second. You
That's
have to
right.
take a vote on that, or
You could
Withdraw
withdraw
it,
the
yeah.
motion, so we could separate the two.
would you like to, shall we have someone withdraw the motion?
well, that's council's decision, or that's the
Doug, you made the
individuals who
motion,
made
didn't you?
that. So
Would you
Yes.
like to withdraw the motion?
Yes, I will withdraw it.
Who made the second? Gary, you want to withdraw your
I will
second?
withdraw the second.
Okay, thank you. So let's take it one by one. We have authorization to pay the bills. And I'd ask for any questions to make sure. Are there any questions about the check register? Any at all? Okay. Is there a motion to authorize the town manager to pay the bills?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Doug makes the motion. Is there a second? Gary makes the second. Any discussion on this motion? Okay. There being no discussion, I would ask for a roll call vote. Susan?
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
No.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
No.
Laura,
No.
Okay, does that leave,
A
what,
tie.
3 yeses and 3 noes? I vote yes. Okay. Are we good? Okay. Next, we have minutes. Minutes of the regular meeting from February the 14th. We discussed it. Is any of the discussion on these minutes? Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Laura makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jan makes the second. Okay, is there any discussion on this motion? Okay, there being no discussion on the minutes, Susan, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jan, I'm sorry, Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
and Laura.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Okay, next we have Roman numeral 6, scheduled public comments. This is a 5-minute maximum. I would ask, I don't know if Mr. Hess or Mr. Bremen are here, I'm looking for them, but I would ask members of the audience who are going to address council to please not direct your conversation to any one member, but to address the council as a whole and in a very civil manner. Okay, is Mr. Bremen here or Rusty Hess? Anyone see them in the audience? Are you checking, Ron?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Hess and Mr. Bremen are not here, so we will just put a no-show. All right, next we have unscheduled public comments. Jackie, come on up and please stand at the podium. And please note, this is a 3-minute maximum. And I will ask, we don't have a timekeeper right now, so I'll ask Jordan, would you keep time for us, please? He'll tell you when to go, Jackie, okay? And again, we ask that everybody be considerate and civil and direct your questions or statements, really, not questions, statements, to the council as a whole. Jackie,
Hi. So, I'm not the person to like stand up here and.
just state your
Oh,
name and
okay.
address if you
Sorry.
don't mind.
My name is Jacqueline Barrett.
Okay.
Okay, so, again, I'm not the person to kind of complain and do anything. I'm normally super patient, happy-go-lucky, whatever. Okay, so I, on May 24th, was granted the Pop-Up Richlands Fund,
May 24th.
May 24th of 2022.
Okay.
That was a $5,000 plus an additional $6,000 from the VCC. So it made it
I got a
6,000.
question. It's $11,000.
5,000 plus an additional 1,000, making it 6,000, sorry. So I sent my information in to John, and John completely declined it, said, no, you're not getting it, blah, 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 blah. Well, he never told anyone, it never went any farther than John. I sent that in twice to John. Both times they were declined. Well, I was told the reasons why I couldn't get it by John. Fast forward to January 11th, Jordan contacts me. There's an IDA meeting that evening. He was like, hey, this is what's going on. We need you to kind of come tell us what has happened. So I did. The IDA approved everything. And then I get a notification that it has to be approved by town council, which you guys did last town council meeting. Well, since then, I have been treated a little poorly by a member of, we'll just say by Heather. And I've been patient, and I haven't bothered her. I did wait for a call back for several weeks before I finally heard from her, and the only reason I heard from her was because I called again. Whenever she answered, she literally answered the phone yelling at me down my throat in a very poor manner. because I was asking about the check that I was told that I would be getting that week. This has been approximately 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And the lady from Magic Moments Photography is now also having these issues as well. We are just trying to figure out when our checks are going to be written, as it's been, the first check was approved well over a month ago. The second check was approved a month ago for me. I'm not sure exactly on Magic Moments, but I would just appreciate kind of an update, and not to be talked to like a dog would be my thing. I try to put out as much as respect as I get, and I've been very patient and respectful during this whole process.
Jackie, thank you. What we can address, not at this moment, but we can address payment. We really can't address anything more about personalities, but thank you very much.
How can I file a formal complaint on her?
I would suggest if you would have to go through the grievance process, and I would think that you would write to our attorney, and I would copy Susan Witt on it and Heather.
Okay, I can
I
do
put
that.
it in writing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie. Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I wasn't gonna bring it up again, but here we are again with pop-up. So I'm going to ask council one last time. I'm in favor of, they won, okay? They might not, the process was confusing. They might not be going through how they are supposed to, but I think as a town, we did not fulfill our obligation to them. I understand the hesitation. I am still of the mindset, they won. Let's nix the back and forth and the turn this in and meet these requirements. Let's get all three winners the money, and let's call this a day, and let's revisit this when we can do it. We've got so much bigger fish to fry at this point.
We've got that money, right?
The money is in a separate
Yes.
account for Pop-Up Richlands that was donated, can only be used for Pop-Up Richlands.
I agree with you. I was in part of that. They won. Get it off the list.
So
Would you
I
like
will.
to put that in form of motion?
I will make the motion that the Pop-Up Richlands winners are to get any funds remaining to them with no obligation to them. They've won. Let's check that off our list here.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to pay all the pop-up winners what we owe them.
How many
Based,
are they?
Yes,
based
sir.
on their winning, right?
There's 3 remaining. She will be owed what, I think she's waiting on 5,000, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so 6,000 total. I thought they at least gave her the 1,000.
She hasn't been paid none.
She's waiting on 6,000. There's another winner waiting on 5,000, and then there's one winner who's had some drawdown, so she's less than 5,000, but I don't know what that number is. But again, all of that money is in a separate account specifically for the pop-up winners.
Okay.
So
Laura.
the
Go
only
ahead.
thing I'll add to this is Jackie's turned in all of her paperwork. At this point, it's a process issue. Even if we make this motion, it's going to have to go through the same process.
I'm
So that
saying,
is-
in my motion, I'm
Yeah.
saying no more process. Let's write the checks. Let's let the IDA move on to what the IDA needs to move on to. Let the council move on to what the council needs to move on to. We have some very pressing issues at this point. Pop-Up Richlands is not one of them. So that, I might be outvoted, I might not, it might be, but I'm putting it to a vote. Let's pay these guys and everybody move forward.
Laura, just to be sure about the motion, you're making a motion to pay these people what they won.
What
And
they
pay
are
the big
currently
down with it.
owed, yes, sir.
Okay. And Doug,
Could
did you
we-
second
I'll
it?
second it.
Okay.
Could we put a time constraint on that? Because I think that's the big problem. Like, that's my fear. Even if we say, let's approve it right now, it still, like, has to go through. Like, I don't think Heather can write and approve the check is the problem that we're running into.
That's why we're approving it right now. And when Heather comes back, because Heather won't have to check anyone's paperwork or receipts, she will be able to write that check. Now, I'm not sure when Heather will be back because as we
Yeah.
heard, she's out sick. but there will be no more, and if this motion passes, there will be no more back and forth about, is this valid, is this receipt over here? Just write the check and let's focus on moving forward.
Okay, does everyone understand Laura's motion?
I do.
Okay, so Laura has made the motion to pay the winners a pop-up what they owe or owed, and Doug, you made the second?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there any discussion on this motion? There being no discussion, I would ask for a roll call vote, please, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion is unanimous. Thank you, council. Okay. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, now Roman numeral 8, I'm going to say we'll start with B, which is safer staffing for adequate fire and emergency response. And I think we have that in our packet. Is that correct?
There's
Or
just
d-
a little bit in the packet.
Yeah.
I can speak to this just a little
Okay,
bit.
would you mind to speak for it, Laura?
I am constantly looking for funding, both from the town and outside help with emergency response. I came across this grant. It's through FEMA called SAFER for Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response. We are eligible for up to $500,000 for the next 3 years to help adequately be able to staff and retain the people that we have with fire and emergency response. The application closes on March 17th. I know there was some hesitation about applying for it because we can only get the grant for 3 years. I recently had an opportunity where I was around a lot of other like-minded people and spoke with people in other municipalities and cities and towns across Virginia that currently get this grant and have heard nothing bad about it. We need all the help we can get. And I know it's scary to think about in 3 years, how are we going to fund this? But I think that's a responsibility that lays up here and that we need to give our emergency response and fire department as much help as we can get right now. So I am asking council to join me when I make this motion that we direct the interim town manager to direct Chief Reynolds to apply for the SAFER grant for the town of Richlands. And I put that in the form of a motion.
Okay. Laura has a motion to authorize the EMS chief, is that right?
Will be the fire chief.
Fire chief, okay, to implement this staffing for adequate fire and emergency response safer.
It can be up to $500,000 each year for 3 years, with the grant being about 400 and I think maybe 47 per year for 3 years. Yes, sir.
Okay.
How sure
Yes.
are you that we can, what was the
It's-
success rate?
I did not speak to anyone who was denied this grant. We've never had it here in Richlands, and I believe we can show an adequate need. The deadline is coming up, so it's going to take some work on the fire chief's part, but I fully believe he's capable of getting this in and explaining our need in Richlands before this deadline. And the worst thing that's going to happen is he applies for it, and we're told no.
Okay, I'll second that motion if I can.
Okay, you made the motion, right, Laura?
Yes, sir.
And Doug seconds. Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion on this motion?
Yes.
To authorize Keith Reynolds to go for this safer funding?
I have a question.
Yes.
Does this specify how many people you have to hire with this grant?
So I admittedly am not a grant expert, but I did read and you can go to this link and read the frequently asked questions, and there's no set number. They look at our need and give that money so that we are adequately, I don't know if there's a state minimum Chief Reynolds might know, but it's going to help us to be able to staff and even use some of that money for our operational budget in the fire department and emergency response.
Okay. Thank you, Jan. Any other questions or discussion?
How big of a lift is it? Is it like full people? Because I see the application date is 3 days away. Is that like achievable, like realistically?
It is achievable, yeah.
Right.
I've talked to people who kind of went last minute like us, because
Okay.
I asked the same question, like,
Yeah.
are we going to be able to do this before this deadline? And they do have on that website, they've got a list, kind of a checklist and a video to watch to kind of make the process easier. So
Okay,
I
yeah.
have full confidence that Chief Reynolds could do
Okay.
it.
And Keith, you're very aware of this.
I'm aware, I don't think I can accomplish that in 3 days' time.
Okay.
What I read said it takes 3 weeks to just prepare.
Okay.
For 3 people, after 3 years, legally, the town has to take it up on itself for 5 years after that. to pay for that.
The town, there's no limit on, after the 3 years, it's just on us to continue staffing. And it isn't just for 3 people, if you read the frequently asked questions. I mean, at this point, I'm at a try anything. And if we can't have the attitude to try anything to get money in here, we're gonna have to start putting people in the positions who are willing to try anything to get this money in here. And it's, I mean, like I said, it's gonna be on us after that 3 years, if we're gonna continue funding these things. But, I mean, our fire department's kind of struggling right now. I would like to see us go full-time fire. This might be a way to help us start moving toward that.
Could I,
Okay.
EMS and fire.
It is primarily fire. It does say emergency response, and the questions that I were asking were the same thing about, because some of our guys are cross-trained, so it will help get people more cross-trained to be able to work both essentially, yeah. Because our fire right now are pay per call. So if you have a fire on a Saturday and everyone's out of town, we don't have anyone to come and put that fire out. And that greatly concerns me.
question, since it's only 3 days, would you be willing to work with Keith?
Absolutely.
To make sure it's on time?
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other discussion on this motion?
If we do miss this deadline, I do think we should apply for it March 17th, 2024. I think we should go ahead and put that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm willing to try anything too.
Just try it,
As
yeah.
long as it's realistic. Let's not set anybody up for failure. But if
Absolutely.
he doesn't get it, let's not be too upset. I mean, it's 3 days.
As long as we
We
try.
try, yep. I'm
That's
there.
all I'm asking.
And I will speak to the attitude. I think we're all on board. Okay. Anybody else?
If there's anything I can do to help, I have written some grants at the school level a few years back, but I'd be glad to help Keith if there's anything I can help you with.
Thank you, Jan.
If you need me, I'll come in also.
Okay. Anybody else? Any further discussion? Okay, I would ask for, we have a motion and a second on the floor. I would ask for a roll call vote. Thank you, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The motion carries unanimously. So Keith, you have help from Jan and Laura and Doug, who will be able to help you as much as possible. Thank you. Okay, next, personalized drawing of Tazewell and Richlands High School. Yes, I did. Personalized drawing. Is this person available in the council chambers right now? Robert E. Duff. Mr. Duff, are you here? Okay. These are in our packets, and I simply cannot speak for him. These are personalized drawings that are available. So if anyone is interested, I would suggest they contact Mr. Duff at the number provided. Anybody have questions on these drawings? Anyone? Okay. Moving on, the grand opening of Whiskey Fields Boutique, and we have a flyer here. And who would like to talk about this? The grand opening of Whiskey Fields Boutique.
I can touch on it briefly.
Okay, thank
I
you.
actually got in contact with her. She's super excited to open her business. It's across from, I'm going to get this wrong, but across from Taco Bell in that area near the high school. She says she's done this for years, but she's finally breaking out, and it's going to be her full-time thing. Super excited. I'm pretty sure food trucks are going to be there. So, and she would like to invite each member of council, and I told her I'd pass that along.
Okay, thank you. So I noticed that this is a grand opening on April the 7th from 6 to 9 p.m. So as we are available, it would be nice to come and support this business. Members of council, thank you. Okay, next. Okay. Next, we have the resolution for interconnection, R 2022-1201 interconnection. I would ask for the attorney to guide us on this, please. It's quite an involved thing. I hope everybody's had a chance to read it. Mike, would you advise on this, please?
This has been something that's kind of been tabled since December. I don't know what council's stance is on this. This was an interconnection that I believe Jordan may know a little bit more about than I do. This isn't something that I prepared. So I don't know if you all have had time to review that, or whatever council's desire is, but I think the understanding is if that is a policy that council wants to adopt, then it could be adopted through a resolution.
Have we actually read the resolution?
We have not, and that is, at least what's in the packet is not the resolution that I had. I know that is one I think that John had sent to me.
This resolution that's in front of us?
Yes.
Okay.
And I had provided a different one, and I'm not for sure if I just brought it with me to council last month. I do not see that with me here today. That's the one John did. Yeah.
Okay, so the resolution titled or styled R 2022-1201 is not, I mean, that indicates the 1st of December. Mike, were there substantial changes to this one, or any changes at all?
What got me was the third whereas did not make sense to me, and I think I had moved that around, but I don't have a newer version with me.
I would suggest it's council's decision. I have two suggestions. One is until we have the exact resolution in front of us, we hold on this so we can read accurately what we're voting on. What is
Or-
council? Yes?
Actually, is this something that council would want to move forward on?
Okay.
I feel like this is something that's been on
It has been
the
table for
agenda
some
since
time.
December, and it doesn't seem like it's making any progress, so I don't know if this is something that council just doesn't want to move forward with, and if so, we need to take it off the agenda and not worry about it, but,
That's good. Of course you may.
On our first workshop on the 21st, Sam Littman's gonna call us. And he's gonna talk to us about this topic we're talking about. Because we do not have nothing stamped from an electrical engineer and saying that this will work. Till we get that, if we put this in motion and somebody hooks into it, we're reliable and we're gonna have problems. So until we get through this point of the 21st, I won't vote for that until that's done.
Rick, are you suggesting that we wait until after we talk to this gentleman before we consider this?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I mean, because he's gonna file for a federal grant for us to get the study done. We've never had nobody climb the poles, put nothing on them to check to see what we got flowing, what we don't have flowing, where's it going, and what's coming. We don't know. We're in the blind voting on this right now.
Well, that was, my first thing is, he said there were some changes, whether substantial or not, but any change, I like to read from correct material. So what is the desire of council? Do you want to postpone this until we have talked to this gentleman that Rick has gotten for us?
I completely agree with Rick. I think we take it off of the agenda until further notice, once we talk to Mr. Littman and get some professional help. I think we need to wait.
Jan, your thoughts? Okay. Jordan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable voting on something that wasn't like the correct wording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rick, you've stated your thoughts, right? Gary, your thoughts?
Yeah, we need, more information.
Okay. Doug, your thoughts?
What we discussed.
Uh-huh.
I agree with Rick.
Okay, so I think the consensus is to wait until we have more information before we even tackle this. So I would suggest with council's, if it's council's will, to remove this from our agenda and until further notice, Mike.
Okay.
And then I would also suggest that we do not use the word red or Richlands Electric Department. The first time I read it, I remember asking John respectfully, and he answered respectfully, what is red? And he took it from Bedford, for Bedford Electric Department. I don't like the connotation, so please do not use red anymore. Thank you.
And just so everybody's clear, this is not an interconnection policy that I've drafted. This is not something that I have any
I just want to say
expertise on.
thanks,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
It has a bad connotation for us, and we don't need that. Thank
And
you.
I'll be honest, when we get to that point, I would prefer you working with our electrical department to draft this. So, I mean,
Can I speak on that, Lord?
absolutely.
Yes,
What's gonna happen is electrical engineer is gonna draft this. Then Mike can put it in formal, but we've gotta have a PE stamp on it, or we're gonna end up in trouble. We
I
can turn
agree.
around and get sued over this.
So what do you think, Rick? Should we just toss this one out and say, well,
Yeah, I think this one is useless till we get a PE to do it, electrical engineer to do this for us. I don't think there's nothing of this we can use.
Okay, so we'll just table it or put it on the back burner until the council makes another
Well,
decision.
I get that, but I think at one point Laura said to take it off, and I thought at one point I heard table it, so as
Take
long
it
as we're
off.
clear.
Just take it off.
Take it off.
Take it
yeah.
off, take it off.
You can toss this version in the trash, and when we're ready, you can work with our electrical department, and electrical engineer, like Rick said.
All right.
And my
Good
personal request, please do not use red. It's a bad connotation. Thank you. Does council understand what I'm saying? It's one of those unflattering acronyms. Thank you. Okay. So we have dispensed with that. Now we are on F, utility date, due date ordinance, verification of end of the month wording. This is ordinance 2023-0103. Mike, can you address that?
Yeah, I received a call from Heather asking, is it the intention of council that nobody would be cut off until the last day of the month, or that everybody has until the last day to pay, so cutoffs would not start until the first of the next month? That is what,
I would think the second one, that they have until the last day of the month to pay, and then, because I think when we discussed this, the intention was to give people more time, so.
that was my interpretation as well, but I know she said that there's a lot that goes on at the first of the month, so it may not be actually practical as far as the first of the month, everybody's cut off that hasn't paid. I know at least that is what Heather had communicated to me. So she just wanted to know what your all's intention, if that was your all's intention, that it wouldn't be until the first of the month.
So we
Yes,
normally would have the 15th as the due date to pay. So all that stuff would still stay in place. if you
Well-
don't pay by the 15th, then you would get a penalty and not be cut off until the end of the month. Is that what we're saying?
Well, it's the 16th, yeah, the penalty is still there. There's two different ordinances here. So this one, it looks like she was just asking about the disconnection. The penalty, obviously, that's on the payment of bills, discontinuation of service, or discontinuance of service. But the disconnection was, are we not cutting off until the first of the next month or the last day of the month?
So we're not changing the due date?
Well, we're not changing anything. We have to start from
Yeah.
start from the bottom if we are changing anything. This was just an interpretation question as far as to make sure that that is what council had desired.
I follow what you're saying, but to be clear, is everyone understanding what Mike is asking, Laura? Jan? Jordan?
Yes.
Rick? Gary? Doug?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mike, do you want to move forward with that?
So it is no cutoffs until the first of the next month.
I think
Correct.
that's correct, yes. Okay. Does that satisfy anybody's questions, and also particularly for our attorney? Mike, you satisfied?
I am.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next item we have, we move things around, is street paving. Okay, who brought up Jan, street paving.
I would just like for us to put out RFPs for the street paving for all streets. And, you know, if we don't want to do them all, or something happens and we can't do them all, then we can do what we can. But we need to get that out, I think.
Okay. Other members of council who would like to follow Jan's thinking here for us to get RFPs, requests for proposals to get street paving going.
I
Whatever
think
we're
Jan
able
is
to do.
correct. I think
Ma'am?
Jan is correct. I think it's the time to do that.
Okay.
Are we gonna work at the worst ones first?
Well, John gave the last council a list of the streets. I don't have a copy of that. Do you?
It was a handwritten list that was given to us. I don't have it with me, but it can be provided to you, Gary.
It was kind of a priority list, I believe, wasn't it?
A priority list, yes.
The last time we paid, this is the streets that we didn't pay, is what they done. Like, my street on Ford Avenue got paid the last time we paid, but it was several that didn't. They took them that hadn't been paid in years and put it to come up to the 1.5 million where we would clear back up with VDOT's what they done. Out of the ARPA money. So,
Yeah, I think it's really important for us to take care of that VDOT thing.
Okay. Anybody, is everybody on board with what Jan's suggestion is? Jan, do you want that in motion?
I can. Make the motion that we put the street paving out for RFPs.
Okay. There's a motion to issue RFPs for street paving. Is there a second? Gary makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Should we put anything in the motion, the priority of each street?
well, they'll just put it out. They'll put it out and we can pick the streets we want. They're gonna come back with a per ton price
Yeah.
and we can add or take away.
Okay.
So that's the way we need to do it, a per ton price.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on this motion?
Is that with marking and stuff, or what?
They'll add that in, yes. But we have the streets marked every year ourselves anyway, so it probably don't need to add that in to it.
Doesn't a
It might
separate
make it too
company do that?
complicated. I think
They do.
the RFP, if we get too detailed in what the RFP needs to say, I think we're going to have to rely on our manager to work those details out of what we're requesting,
Right.
is my thinking.
Just a per ton price for asphalt on the streets of Richlands. And we can add and take away at that point.
Okay. Jan, do you want your motion to stand as you've said it? Or do you want to add the per ton thing, or Your thoughts?
Well, I think that would be in the RFP. I don't think we need to add it. Do you, Mike?
I would say, I mean, if you're wanting to say move forward on a street paving, I would imagine that would be up to the manager on that. I don't know if our current manager has any experience with that, but as far, I'm sure there's examples that she may be
Probably
able
the
to-
street committee would have some input into that one. They would know.
Well, that would be Jan and Rick, right? Well, that's possible.
No,
You
I
could-
meant the actual street people.
Oh, no, not the street crew, not the committee.
I have no,
Street-
I have no expertise in
Well,
that.
I would think we would rely on them, but when you
Yeah.
said committee, I
I
was
did,
thinking.
I
up here.
misquoted.
That's not a problem. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? There being no discussion on this motion, I would ask for a roll call vote. Thank you, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion is unanimous. Thank you, council. Next, we have item J, Events Committee Appointment. I believe Laura brought that up. Laura?
So I've been, I don't know if you guys have been receiving the events committee applications, the people interested. We've got two very strong candidates who have sent their statement of interest, I guess, in. And
How are
they,
those coming, Laura? I don't know.
Heather was forwarding them to me.
Okay.
I was participating in the writing of the,
I remember,
you
yes.
know, so Heather has been sending them to me.
Okay.
And these two people have applied, have shown their interest. One of them is, he's actually been involved in previous town events. So I'm ready to make a recommendation and make a motion. Do we need to do that in two separate motions, or?
I think we could do one motion probably. If you'll go ahead with the names. yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Brent Humphreys and Joshua Grimmett to the Richlands Events Committee.
Brent Humphreys or Humphrey?
Humphreys
Okay.
and Joshua Grimmett. Yes, sir.
I'll second that.
And they know what their responsibilities are. I haven't seen the application.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so there is a motion on the floor to appoint Brent Humphreys and Joshua Grimmett to the Events Committee. Just to be clear, they know parades and festivals and all that kind of thing
Yes, sir.
that we typically have done here. Okay, are they ready to take action and get it started for the
Yes, sir.
season,
Yes,
festival
sir.
season? Okay. All right, those are my questions. There's a motion and a second on the floor. I think Laura made the motion and Jan seconded the motion. Is there any other discussion?
Do we need to appoint one of them as chairman, or how would that work out?
I think that would be wise. Maybe they could decide amongst themselves who wants to be the chair maybe, and let us know. And my only part of this discussion is, I think they'll need more than two people. So as we receive applications, you can present those to council. And if we're able to see the applications, that would be also appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you, Laura. So
Are
can you
these-
forward those applications to, or have somebody forward them to all of us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, were there any other applications?
There was one more, but they were more of the line that they thought it was going to be like a paid full-time position.
Uh-huh.
So they weren't sure if they wanted to move forward at this point.
Okay,
And I'm not sure if in the past few days we've had any others. Those are the only ones I've had.
Okay.
Now, I've had a lot of questions, and I've been answering a lot of questions for people, and interest
Okay.
has
well, thank
picked
you
up.
for the initiative. That is much appreciated, Laura. So the motion is on the floor to accept Brent Humphreys and Joshua Grimmett to the Events Committee, and I think your question is valid. Maybe we can see which one of those wants to chair it, and they can convey that to Laura, and she will convey that to us, maybe at the, when we have a work session or something like that. Is that acceptable?
That's great.
I would recommend, just from a personal standpoint, if they're gonna be on the committee, I think they should choose their own chairman, but
Yeah, that's-
obviously that's up to you all.
If I didn't make it clear, that's what it was saying.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. You're fine.
All right.
Thank you. All right, so there's a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Okay, no further discussion. Okay. Roll call vote, please, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion carries. It is unanimous. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Laura, for working on that.
And Mr. Mayor, may we take a quick recess?
Yes, we'll have a 10-minute recess. Thank you. Okay. Okay, time to
Doug said he needed this, so he had asked.
Stretching your leg.
He came up with he teaches
That's what we do.
so he's gonna ask him.
I figured I figured he would just kind of what.
I don't have his number. I used to have it on his Tuesday. He was running Tuesday.
Well, if that's an idea, we really don't know. Get it done. What's the?
Yeah.
Tell me here next week. Tell me here. Tell me here the 21st. That's quick.
On the spot. Yes, sir.
We do. We need to have a manager or a slate to carry on.
Ready to go?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
You gentlemen and ladies ready? Everybody ready? This meeting of the Richlands Town Council will now resume.
Mayor Curry.
We have one more mention from Laura regarding the events committee. Laura?
During break, I know a couple people had kind of been tossing the idea around of their interest in the events committee. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Jerome Van Dyke and Jacob Van Dyke to the events committee.
Let me write it down. Jerome Van Dyke and Jacob, is that correct? All right, so we have a motion to appoint Jerome Van Dyke and Jacob Van Dyke to the events committee. Is there, Jan, you seconded it, and Jan seconds the motion. Is there any discussion regarding the appointment of Jerome and Jacob to the events committee to join Brent and Joshua? Okay. There being no discussion, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion carries. It is unanimous. So I would like to welcome Jerome and Jacob to the events committee. They'll be working 1,000 hours a week. Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't want to be too discouraging. We have a Starbucks station right down at the end of the hall. Please understand, we don't. But, okay, let's move on. All right, next is debris in the river. Who brought up debris in the river? Doug. Doug?
We need some kind of study. Like there's some trees behind Magic Mart and all over the river. And if there is a high waters, it could make the flooding much worse. And some kind of study maybe to get those trees out. I think there's two that they're complaining about over here, where all the flooding is right now. And I guess you've seen them, Rick. And
Well, they fell in. What we really need is direct the town crews to get them out of the,
Pull 'em out.
yeah.
or the electric crew, whoever who does the tree sawing, to get them out of the, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, especially those, because they're in a bad situation there.
Doug, I can't speak to the trees precisely, but what I can speak to is the Army Corps of Engineers has been here recently, and in the most recent meeting, Laura was there, I was there, Shanna Plaster was there, Matt Whitey was there, and two engineers whose name escaped me right now were there. They have come to identify places in Richlands that are flooded, and they have studied the target area, Massey. And while that might not remove those trees and we want a different direction, I just wanted to say that is an important thing, and maybe Laura would like to report on that in her council report, the update on the Army Corps. So I don't know that we need a motion for that. What is council's desire? Maybe a consensus?
I'll just add to that. I've seen them down near the rec park as well.
Okay.
Like very large trees over and stuck underneath. I believe it's a water line, perhaps, that goes across there.
It crosses over top
Yeah.
of the river.
Yeah.
What's that, Bill?
We got them out just
Okay. Bill's right here, so thank you, Bill.
Bill, is that
Okay.
something y'all could do, get them out behind the Magic Mart, or?
I have to look at it. I don't know exactly where you're, can we get trucks to it?
I think you can.
We own the property right up against the building at the Magic Mart, so I'm sure you
Shouldn't have a
can.
problem.
Street shop,
Do what, Bill?
right behind the street shop?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can look at it and see,
Okay.
maybe get them when it dries up, before we can get the truck out.
Just before it starts flooding, because that's what everybody's worried about, them causing that bottom over there to flood out more.
We can look at it.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Anything else on that, Doug?
That's
debris.
all on it, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving along. We have got the driveway that I know several months ago, Rick and I met former town manager John O'Daniel to try to address the concerns of Cornelia Cox, Rick, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, I brought this up in the council meeting of the September the 13th. But we all agreed on it, but we didn't vote on it because I have the minutes here for it. So, and that's over going across from Crittersville up to, on North Street. It's the first driveway on the left. All she wants is enough back to park a car, because she's having to park like 2 football fields up the road and carry all of her groceries to. She doesn't have, and she used to have a parking place there. She showed me in raw pictures. So I would like to give her parking spot back, but they are a water line on her property, and we do not have an easement. Have you worked on that any?
Yeah, I've got a draft of an easement ready to go. Well, it's not 100% ready to go, but I do have a draft of an easement that defines her property. And I think at the last meeting you had said maybe a 6 foot encroachment maybe is what it is.
Well, her property comes 6 foot on this side of the water line, and the roadway is on her property. So we need that little triangle. We fix this, I think she would give us that, no problem. She don't have a problem with the road. She just wants a place to park.
Okay.
So, Mike, might you be able to have that for us at the next council meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the bones to it now, just so I'm clear. In consideration of a water line easement
And roadway easement,
and a roadway easement.
yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put that in a motion, that we do this for Corky Cox to fix her driveway, and she gives us the easement for the asphalt and the water line to travel through her property.
So just to make clear, you're moving or making a motion to allow someone to endorse, well, it's not even gonna need to be signed by the town. It'll be signed by her, so.
Yes.
You're just fine with me drafting something up and,
Yeah, just as soon as we get if she'll sign that, then we can fix her driveway and be done with this little matter. This has went on since like 1976. This has been a problem that long, and I'm just tired of having the problem. I'm ready to put it out in front of us, get this done, and we need to move on. So I'm making that motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to ask the attorney to draft an easement between the town and Cornelia Cox. Is that
And
okay to put it that way?
I'm, in this motion, I'm also saying that the town needs to fix her driveway so she'll have a place to park.
The town will do the work,
Yes.
okay.
That's
So
probably
as
just
part-
some gravel.
No, it's just where we keep snow plowing and
sorry.
pushing dirt back. She's lost her driveway. All they gotta do is dip a little bit out, put her a little bit of gravel. She'll be tickled, and we'll be tickled.
Okay, that seems fair to me.
Are you clear on the motion, Mike? Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And Jan makes a second. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, I would ask for a roll call vote. Thank you, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The motion is unanimous. Okay, next, we have the Magic Mart building easement that has been requested, and I believe that Rick has some information on that he would like to share.
Yeah, I can't share all the information on that, but what I will tell you is the building is gonna be sold. So, and the closing date is like the 22nd of the month. So if we could go ahead and give him a right-of-way or direct the attorney to work with the other attorney, the closing attorney, on this to get this property moved, it will be very beneficial to the town of Richlands.
To just give an easement?
Yeah, just the easement. I'm not saying give no property, just the easement, so they can get around their building.
if you all remember, Jim Ribble was here last month to speak on that on behalf of that. I think at that time, they were looking for a property acquisition, the town sell them a piece of property, but at this point, it sounds like they're just wanting an easement. So that'll be a whole lot easier to accomplish than a sale of property.
So Rick, are you asking our attorney to get with Jim Ribble? Is that correct?
Well,
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to make a motion to give our attorney the go-ahead to work this out and get this done with the other attorney and Jim Rebel if he needs to be involved.
Okay.
But it's done past Jim Rebel now. It's went to where all they're wanting is like a 10-foot so they can drive behind their building.
Get a
if
truck
they need
behind
to.
it.
Right. And most of that is would be going to our parameter or our, the Richlands water that's back there. So, but to get the loan done, they need that little 10-foot, so,
The loan to purchase the property?
yes.
Okay.
so
Mike?
essentially, he's just asking for council's endorsement of an easement to be granted to the Magic Mart property.
Okay, it's in the form of a motion. He's put this in a motion form. Is there a second to Rick's motion? And Jan makes the second. Is there any further discussion on this motion regarding an easement?
I have a few questions, just my own ignorance of the situation. Will an easement, is this gonna be forever? So, or will it come back to us at some point? Is it transferring property? If we have to take that property back, can we? Like, if we need to use it, can we, et cetera, et cetera? Like,
So an easement, the property's still gonna be owned by the town of Richlands. It's not a sale of property or anything like that. It gives them the ability to go across that property. And an easement, once it is placed on record, it is an irrevocable license, essentially. I mean, there's other ways to get around that, but as far as, to answer your question shortly, yes, it is irrevocable. It'll be a forever thing. It'll go with the property, so it's not just the current owner or the next owner, it goes with the property.
and what happened, like, are they allowed to build on that, or?
No, the property is still owned by the town of Richlands. They have the right for ingress and egress is the way we call that.
Okay.
So they have the ability to go across the land, but they don't have the ability to build on the land or put
Obstruct it.
anything on the land.
They cannot obstruct it. All they have the right is to cross it. That's it.
Okay, so you're gonna look out for us in this?
Well, yeah, of course,
Okay.
of course.
All right, that's all I've got.
Any other questions, council? Okay, there's a motion on the floor by me but Rick, and a second by Jan. Being no further discussion, I would ask a roll call vote. Thank you, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion is unanimous. Thank you, council. Okay, next on our agenda, we have PCA and electric questions. Doug?
I guess the first thing is, we always have in our packet to pay the bills. Okay, I'm asking, and we always have a number that we have to pay Blue Ridge or who would pay for the electric. Okay, I'm asking into parentheses each month that we have a dollar amount of how much we took in so we can compare how we're doing. I think that would be great for the
What is
council.
our revenue versus expenditures?
Yes, sir,
For electricity?
each month.
Okay.
Then if we do the power cost adjustment, which I'm gonna make a motion in a minute for that, we will have a comparison each month what our progress is as far as the reserve.
Okay. Are there any questions about that?
Do I need to make a motion for that, or?
I'm trying to think. I think that could be a request I'm suggesting, but I think when it comes to the PCA, if you're thinking, Doug, about making a motion would be required for that.
Okay. Well, may I ask that, that the council make the request that we have a dollar amount each month of the revenue coming in from the electric system.
Do we have a consensus of the, or Mike, you're frowning.
Well, I just have a quick logistical question about that. I don't know how easily, of course, this isn't my wheelhouse, I don't know. I don't know how easily ascertainable that will be. And of course, if you're talking about revenue, that's expected revenue, expected that everybody pays their bill.
Even at that, if we have, it's probably 95% that we're gonna get most of that money. So if we had even what we bill for, I think that would give us a calculus of how much we're paying for electricity and how much we're getting in return.
It may be a month behind, but that would be
Yeah,
okay.
sure. Right.
It would have to be
Yeah,
a month behind.
I'm just thinking logistically, I don't know if that's gonna be something that's easily just a one-liner on
Well, I
there.
mean,
Doubt it is.
I'm sure they know how much they bill, the amount they
Maybe,
bill.
I don't know.
Are you talking about like the software aspect of it, like
Yeah,
adding
I'm
that
just talking
label?
about
I
the
don't know
logistics of
either.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be super difficult to customize, or it could be a checkbox. I have no clue either.
Or if that wouldn't work, see what the proceeds are, and we'd be a month behind of what comes in. I mean, either way, I'm okay. I just want a reference of what. I think,
follow what you're asking.
yeah, I just want a reference on electric, because that's the most important thing to the town. It's like,
So Doug, I follow. The numbers might not be accurate or up to date at our
But
meetings
as long
because
as-
what we
Sure.
take in would not
Right.
be able to be calculated until basically the 15th of the month.
sure.
And then after that, you might get a few or several late payments.
right, even if we, like Rick said, even if we're a month behind, and some of the late ones coming in, we're really after a ballpark reference,
Okay.
And like Rick said, 1 month it's going to be a month behind, but we realize that, and we can compare after the package, like a 3-month period, that we have that. Okay?
Susan, are you able to convey that in the minutes?
Yes, but, so you're referring to the check registers?
Yes.
Down at the bottom? See, all this information is from accounts payable, which is everything going out. I don't have access to revenue, so, I'm gonna have to ask for that. And once they give me that number, I can plug it in.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Right,
Just
okay.
ask for the revenue. Surely, we have predictions and all that, but I don't want a prediction. I want to really know what's
Okay.
what's
Like
coming.
accounts receivable regarding electricity.
And like,
Right.
as you'll see, like the AMP, that's for January.
Right. So
And then,
February, we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, we realize we're going to be a month behind.
Right.
But I think the council needs to stay up on this electric system, because it's the most important thing we have in town that
Okay.
affect people.
right.
And like I said, we don't want it dollar, just as Rick or Gary said, just a ballpark figure,
Okay,
okay?
Okay.
I don't think that would be too hard.
okay.
Doug, does that help satisfy what you're asking for?
Oh, that does. And I
I
think
think she'll
the,
have to research that because she does accounts payable.
Right.
And she'll have to get, I call it accounts receivable
Yeah.
in that particular area.
Right.
but I think that'd be fantastic for the council. The next thing, I'd like to make a motion that we put the power cost adjustment to 0 for this month for the Richlands power system. Pardon?
I'll second your motion.
There's a motion on the floor made by Doug to set the PCA at 0 for the next billing period, and there's a second by Jan. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Is that for 1 month?
Yeah, you have to do it you have to do it each month.
Jordan?
So I was just going to ask about fiscal feasibility. Can we do this? Can we absorb this cost?
Yes, we have a reserve. It's been growing.
Yeah.
2.8 million, and then we have this restricted, which we can't use on certain
Fair,
things.
fair.
So we have over $4 million in that fund.
So nothing has to happen from us to be able to withdraw from that fund?
No.
Well, it can be reimbursed?
Right.
Okay.
Are you making, now I'm asking, I'm fine with what you're saying, Doug. Are we trying to maintain that reserve?
Yes, I mean, not that exact amount. All we have to have in reserve that they require. And they say it's substantial enough for if we have like a nominee or something with the power system is 1.7 million. Okay, we're at 2.8 million and we're growing. Okay, so we have over $1 million that they don't even require for reserves.
Okay. Okay.
So
Any other, go ahead.
just to put it in numbers for me, 60K a month we can absorb, of roughly 50 to 60K.
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
And that's why, as we're doing this, I think it would be, that's why I asked, let's see what we're billed for and what the revenue coming in. I think that'll give each council member a much more information to make these decisions every time we ask for the power cost adjustment to be zero.
Okay, thank you. So there's a motion on the floor by Doug and a second by Jan to set the PCA to zero in the next billing period. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this motion? Being no discussion, I would ask a roll call vote. Susan, thank you.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion is unanimous. Thank you, council. All right, now we're moving on to the next item on the agenda that I have is rec park renovations. Gary, or was it you? I believe you talked about it.
Yeah. This goes back to last month. I don't have the report with me. The analysis I done of the issues at the rec park, was it 10,000? Roughly.
400 and some approximately. I have that.
Okay. We need to fix some of those items on that list. I mean, before somebody gets hurt over there. Them slides need to go down.
Move
fence.
them, Gary.
Remove them for now until we do something later. The fence, the hole out back at the entrance to the second floor, I mean, those are some serious issues.
Their liabilities.
I mean, yes, and, you know, is it Jessica that works at, yes, you know,
Yes.
she's brought in some good revenue out there with what she's done, and we should, you know, earmark some of that fund so we can get the town started on some of this or sub some of it out that they can't do.
Can the town do it all?
Most of, yeah.
Yes. That's what we landed on. We walked through here. And this is this paper that we can pass around.
Like I said, that's just material list, roughly, no taxes, just what I pulled offline, current pricing.
Okay. I will let everybody look at this and we'll move forward in any manner that council directs.
I agree with you. It's got to be done. She's got the money in her budget. She's got, I mean, just me looking at it, she's got $10,000 plus in her budget for repairs. So I would hope that we empower Jessica to be able to understand and make these decisions in her budget. And only if she goes outside of that budget does she need to come and
Come
do
back to
that.
get more
Yeah.
to do, but
Yes,
I agree with that. but
So,
we-
Laura, would you take the responsibility to?
Jordan's on the rec commission. Jordan's on the rec commission.
I can if need be. If
And
that's
I-
what we want to do, everybody on council, that's what needs to happen. I can definitely help with that.
She in the budget, just me looking at the budget, I can find,
Oh,
there are actually some repairs for, don't quote me on this, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was maybe Critterville Park.
We haven't
Yes.
looked at that
Uh,
one yet. That's to come.
And then
Yeah.
she also had,
It's right here.
some repairs elsewhere. Just me eyeballing the budget was
Of course,
$10,000 to
that's fair.
$20,000.
Yeah.
So I think if somebody helped her with that and
Do we know if that's
It's
been used? at all?
$10,700, do you think she has that much?
absolutely, just from the
And
Critterville.
we need to
bid.
basically, you know, they open next month, right,
Yeah,
April?
for the pool. That's what scares me.
We need to let the town know that they'll start working on some of those that we seen the critical,
Like dangerous is the issue at
before
hand.
somebody
Could
gets
you,
hurt.
could you help prioritize that with her? And-
Yeah, we can do
and
that.
Since you're a rec commission
I
person
can,
and,
I can.
I think that's important. Gary?
yeah.
Let me ask you, do you think, council, should we just, by consensus, authorize her to do this, or just suggest, or tell her to do it? Or do you want a motion?
I don't know that
I
she needs
think
her.
we need
She
to-
really doesn't.
This
It's
is
just
what I
She
think
doesn't
we
need
need
her
to do.
authorization. She's got that
She's
money
got
in
the
her
money.
budget.
This is what I think we need to do. We need to authorize the town people
Yes.
to help her, so she don't have to spend, like, she don't need to put out a contract
For labor, yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
We need to do this, everything that we can
In-house.
do in-house with town employees right now.
I agree.
So
and
I'm thinking we need to probably not make a motion, we just
Consensus.
consensus on the town employees helping Jessica at the rec park get these problems solved.
yeah,
I
Because
think
they
we-
are a
And I-
safety factor.
absolutely.
I think with Jordan and Gary.
Yeah, Jordan is our representative to the
yeah.
rec commission. I think he can convey that
Absolutely.
to Jessica.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Is everybody good with that?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm good
Do
with
it.
that.
You okay with that, Gary? So Jordan, maybe you can report back to us.
Absolutely,
Okay. Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you, thank you. Any other things, Gary, about rec?
No.
Okay. Next, we have, I think, closed session.
Yep.
Am I following it right, guys? I think so.
Well, I'll make the motion, we,
All right,
Could
let
I
me
ask one
read
thing
it.
before,
Yes.
okay.
or I'll forget? What about the RFP for maybe the generator? Do you know where they are? Anyone?
The electric, gas-powered generator?
I do.
I don't.
I got an update on it. I actually just spoke with Seth today, and I think they're just in the final tweaking of the wording. They've got it written and everything, and I think maybe they're just playing with the verbiage of a few things, so it should be ready to go anytime now.
Okay.
Can
At next
I-
meeting, or we're gonna call a special meeting? Or?
I would assume at least by the next meeting, if they get it, when they get it finished. I mean, I'm not opposed to, we've got these budgets and everything. I'm not opposed to amending what we need to do to get it notified and to get it out quickly.
Yeah, I mean, if they get it sooner, I'm for special meeting. Let's,
Yeah.
I have a suggestion.
Can I
on
talk
that.
just a second on that?
Go ahead.
Okay, on the first budget meeting at 5:30, Sam Littman is going to talk to us.
Which is
And
next Tuesday.
next
right?
Tuesday. He's going to be here, he's on Zoom at 5:30. I talked to Heather about this. The power committee needs to be here with us to listen to what he's got to say and tell us how to go forward with this. Because this could be in that grant, that generator could be in that grant. And it's a good deal on what they've worked out on the generator, because I talked to Seth about it. But to the interconnections studies done, we can't hook that generator to our power system.
No, that's true.
oh, you mean until we get the interconnection? Oh, I know
Yeah,
that.
we've
Yeah,
got
sure.
to have all this
Yeah.
done. I mean, this is all in
the
pieces
right
and
steps.
parts
Sure.
to make this thing work, because we don't need to blow up something. Because we ain't got the money
Oh,
to cover it.
I know that. I know that, but I think we could be working on both, working on the connections and all, and still.
But what I'm saying is this generator fits in with what he's going to
Right.
tell us.
Sure.
And he wants to know the size and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So your committee needs to be here on the 21st so we can get started on this. Because we put this guy off and put him off and put
Right.
him off.
So we need Seth here
I have a
too.
thought
Yes.
on it.
We need Seth.
I want to share this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to share
Notify
my
him.
thinking on it. At the end of our meeting, we can always vote, even in a budget work session, if we are all together. But I personally think it's nice for our citizens to know that it's a meeting in which we can vote. We've always had the implied thought that we don't, but we can. But I would suggest, in the event that we're able to, and they might not be ready, and we might not be ready, that at the end of this, we don't recess, we adjourn until Tuesday.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's good.
That we don't adjourn, we recess. Did I say it incorrectly? I'm sorry. That we don't adjourn, we recess. Okay? And that way, if the committee, which is Doug and Shay and Seth and Jordan, have information ready for us to digest thoroughly, and if this gentleman is on target with us, we might be able to move ahead with the interconnection agreement. As I understand it, we can't do anything until that's in place, the proper one.
Right, but the thing about it is, the federal only gives money out, and it's all gotta be filed by May, I think he said the 12th or something.
A deadline.
So we have to meet this deadline, or we have to wait an entire year to get federal money. And this study is like a few $100,000 that we need done that we're not counting on here. So we're gonna have to, if we can get him to come or Zoom in and talk to us, and we can get him and Seth and Shay Cook and you and all of us and Jordan all in this. I mean, we can make
In the
this work.
mix.
What's the date on that?
What?
Our budget
It's
work
next-
session is
it's the
Tuesday,
budget.
the 21st at
21st.
5:30.
At 5:30.
5:30, guys?
All of them are not there.
Because
Okay.
remember, we still like, what, a couple years before we have to go back to buy power.
Right,
Time's running
right.
out.
We're running out, and that's why this is so important to get this done.
Okay.
So we can start generating some of our own power. And we may have to buy some, but we ain't gonna buy a whole lot.
Yeah, that's good.
So is council happy with the suggestion to recess this meeting so that we feel well within our public bounds to conduct business?
I'm happy.
The meeting is at 5.
Yeah, it's 5.
It's
Oh,
5
5.
o'clock.
5.
He's in Arizona, so he needs us to be able to Zoom at 5:30.
Well, we can do that.
Okay. Do I need to put that in a motion?
I don't think so. He's gonna
Consensus.
Zoom, and we know we're gonna have the rest of this meeting, and at the end of this meeting, my thinking is, at the end of this meeting, instead of adjourning, we will recess until Tuesday.
Okay.
Am I saying that correctly now?
Yes, you
Okay.
still want to advertise that you're going to have.
Yes, a recess meeting.
And I don't mind doing that, but I also don't want to limit ourselves in these budget meetings. So maybe we should leave, I mean, it doesn't matter if we call it a workshop or work session or get together. We can vote if we're all together, but just for the perception of it, maybe we should call these budget meetings, just so people are more,
Well, that's
just so
why
we're not limiting ourselves if we get into a situation where we need to do
It's
something.
and it's a continuation of this meeting, so I think that's fine. We'll advertise it as a continuation of the council.
With it being a continuation of the meeting, am I requested to be here next Tuesday?
I would ask council.
I wouldn't think you would need to be.
Well, he may need to, because we may have to have a contract with Sam Lippman, and it's hard for you to write one and you don't know what's going on.
That's a good point.
I mean, we're limited to time here. We've got 2 years till we buy power, and we've got this contract that may have to be done with him.
So what is the consensus of council to answer Mike's question?
I think,
Well, I'd say if he can come, then he should probably
Okay.
come, if you're free to come.
Mike, do you think you could do that?
I've seen you all for the past, I don't know how many Tuesdays, what's one more?
And I also think we need to get that, if you can, pretty quickly, let's get the electronic participation. So if we're in a situation like this, that you could pop in on Zoom.
The ordinance.
Yeah. If you can pop in on Zoom now,
Yeah.
have at it. But,
I'm not bound by the council
oh, okay.
on that. And I presented that last meeting, I'll talk about it in my report, we'll get to that.
Any other questions here regarding Rick's request? I don't think we need a motion for that. We know he's gonna Zoom, he'll be on the agenda for 5:30 because it's in Arizona, the time difference. And then, we'll still be able to conduct business in a meeting. Fair enough?
We are talking 5:30 our time, right?
Yes, we're gonna be 5:30, but he's gonna be like 3 o'clock.
But our meeting starts at 5.
But our meeting starts at 5, but we're Zooming him at 5:30.
And you've got that worked out through Heather.
Well, I did. Did she work it out with you, Frank?
It's been mentioned, and all I need is his contact info.
Yeah, I sent it to her the other day, but
It won't be a problem.
if you ain't got it, I'll send it
If
to
she's
you.
got it.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, so, let's see, are we up to closed session? If we are, I will entertain a motion to go into executive closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1, personnel. Is there a motion to that
I'll make
effect?
that motion.
Rick makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Laura makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion? There being no discussion, I would ask for a roll call vote, please, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion is unanimous. Thank you, council. We will now go into closed session. We'll go into council conference room. Thank you.
Frank, I got a problem.
This meeting of the town council is back in session. I'm going to ask for two motions. I would ask that council vote for a motion to come back into regular session from our executive closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1. Is there a motion to return to open session?
I'll make that motion.
Rick makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Gary makes the second. Is there any discussion on this motion? I would ask for a roll call vote, please, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion carries. It is unanimous. Thank you, council. Now, I would ask for a motion for each member to certify that nothing was discussed in our executive session other than Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 personnel. Roll call vote, please, Susan.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion carries. It is unanimous. Thank you, council.
With that being said, Mayor, I believe from last meeting, I understand one of the council members did leave before they certified, so if we could have that council member
Okay.
certify that we spoke about what we spoke about. the last-
Was it personnel? I'll get it.
I think we had contract
Do
negotiations
you have the
and
code number
personnel.
for it handy?
Yeah, it's 2.2-3711A6, I believe.
Okay. I'll make sure. A8.
C.
Well, let me get it right here.
8.
2.2-3711A8. Okay. So I'll ask for Mike to be legal. Do you want a motion to certify? Just a motion to certify from Doug?
Yeah, well, not even a motion, just a vote to certify that that is just what we discussed.
Okay, I'll ask for each person to certify. Is that okay that he
That's
did it?
fine.
All right. I will ask for a motion from council to certify, again, that at our previous, was it February meeting?
It was the February 14th meeting.
February 14th meeting, that nothing was discussed in our closed session other than 2.2-3711A8, and I will ask for you, each person to certify this, including Doug. So it covers all of us. So is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Doug makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And Rick makes the second. I would ask for what you were certifying is that, and Doug, particularly for you, that nothing was discussed other than pursuant to the
Yeah.
code section. So roll call vote, please.
Discussion, I apologize for that. I had a problem.
It's
that I-
okay. You
know,
don't need to
okay.
explain it. You're okay. All right, Susan, roll call vote, please.
Doug,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
The motion is unanimous. Thank you, council. Okay, we have the next thing on our agenda, attorney comments.
I presented at well, I didn't present it to council, but I just gave you all a copy of the virtual meeting that you had asked about. I gave that to everybody to look over. I know it didn't make it on the agenda this time, but I don't know if everybody had the chance to look at that. If not, go back and look at it. Maybe we can get it on the agenda for either next week or the next regular meeting in April. But it was just a virtual